Nestle behind the dark streak behind the drink or the product or something like that. I'm interested to see what's behind Nestle's.
Crosses your mind. You think of their many products. Nestle is in a lot of shelves and grocery stores. You can't walk into an American grocery store without seeing one Nestle product. But don't let their simple.
That's a fact. That's a fact. There's gonna be a Nestle like product everywhere you go in the supermarket.
Behind it was the sweat of little children who worked day and night to get the main ingredients of those chocolates. Behind Nestle was the cries of many innocent babies. There were also many people who felt the aftermath of the damage Nestle did to their neighborhoods. This is the very dark side of Nestle. Imagine you existed in the 1800s. You just welcomed a new baby into the world. You found out you can't breastfeed your child. You're sad, you're heartbroken because you can't feed your child. You decide to take matters into your own hands and go look for an alternative. You go to the hospital and you ask the doctors, but unfortunately, they give you nothing. So one morning, you wake up and to your surprise, a man by the name of Henry Nestle had solved your breastfeeding problem. This man by the name of Henry Nestle had invented a baby milk formula. This baby milk formula was initially made for people who could not breastfeed their children. Henry's achievements did not just stop at the baby milk formula. His milk powder was what was used by his friend Peter to create the first ever milk chocolate bar. Just right before Henry died, he decides to sell his company to 3 local businessmen. The 3 businessmen, they hired chemists and more people with, sciencey brains to help them with their production and sales. So the Nestle company that we know today was built by somebody that was named in Nestle that sold his company. After Nestle, the man, died, Nestle, the company, kept evolving. His successors, they continued his rescue mission by playing a big role in the First World War. But what was a baby milk company doing in the middle of war? Here's what they did. Back in those days, the troops that were fighting, they needed coffees, they needed milk and chocolates. The chocolates and the coffees because of its fast caffeine and energy. So because of the chocolate and the milk affairs, Nestle and the United States, they became friends with benefits. The US were handing Nestle a fat check just to mass produce coffees and chocolates. Nestle, they loved this new relationship. Money was coming in left and right.
Money.
By the end of the First World War, they expanded 40 factories across the globe. During World War II, with the main characters being US and Germany, Nestle was supplying to Germany as well. They were playing both sides during the Second World War, which is nothing wrong with that. Get your money, right? Because they were supplying to both sides of the war, they grew even more. Nestle became huge. They merged with different companies, they started making fruit juices, and they even owned
They made some food out of it. Nestle made some pizza. I never had those pizza rolls.
When you want a hot meal without a big deal, what you gonna pick?
I'm not gonna lie, I never had Hot Pockets before. I never had Hot Pockets.
Time for dinner, sweetie.
Very well, then take off your shirt.
No, honey, no. Tonight we're gonna have formula instead.
Ah! Oh, that's more disgusting.
My nigga Stewie spit the milk out. Nah.
Peter went through that Daisy Dukes phase.
So Nestle at this point is huge, but this was a history soon to turn tragic. Breast competition. You see, when we look at other brands and companies, they have other brands and companies as their competition. Nestle, they saw the human breast as their competition. And unfortunately, the human breast was losing this war. Babies meant business to Nestle, so they would put these posters around these third world countries, creating a need for these baby formulas when none existed. And my favorite word, not only that, in Asia and Africa, Nestle would gather up these fake nurses that were really local saleswomen, but they would be dressed up as nurses. Nestle will have them go to the hospitals to kind of sell these mothers and hospitals their baby formulas. At times, they would even give out free samples. A little background information about the times this was happening. So when this was happening, most women in these coming up countries, they had no formal education. So anybody dressed in a nursing attire, they would believe them. One mother did recall one of the sales pitch of these nurses. The nurse began by saying, breastfeeding is best. She then went on to detail the supplementary food that the breastfed baby would need. The nurse was implying that it was possible to start with a proprietary baby milk from birth, which would avoid these unnecessary problems. This led to a massive Nestle boycott. In 1977, people got tired of Nestle's BS. Left and right, you'd see people boycotting Nestle.
Damn, it was that serious, bro. Mad people was protesting to get Nestle's off, just to get Nestle's off, the stores and shit.
a special name called Baby Killer. Formulas and water. You see, the baby formula alone came with its own problems. First, it's powder, so it's meant to be mixed with water. People in these underdeveloped countries didn't have much access to good water. This will cause many mothers to not only use contaminated waters to feed their babies, but because Nestle was also expensive, many mothers will use the small amount of powder, they would dilute it with a lot of water just to make the supplies of the baby formula last long. Remember, a lot of these people at the time, they had no idea of the nutrition value of using more water and less baby food. So this will cause millions of babies and small kids to die from malnutrition because they were getting fed small amount of nutrients and more water. Nestle also had their hands in China. 6 types of the milk powder that were made in China by Nestle had low-level traces of melamine, which is surprisingly the same chemical that gives this white bowl its white color. Nestle used that same chemical to give the powdered milk that white color. This took the lives of many infants and put many more of them in the hospital. But did Nestle learn their lesson? No. In fact, they expanded further, the shady water business. In 1843, Nestle started bottling water. One of their shady, business strategy being to come into your neighborhood, offer your mayor or whoever is in charge to buy your water supply, drain it, bottle it, and sell it back to you. In San Bernardino, locals were faced with, guess what? Water droughts. Nestle was buying the water, they were bottling it, and selling it back to them. If you ask me, smart but cruel. I'm not exaggerating when I say Nestle's water is just the tap water in your sink, just bottled, and it's just sold back. Just put your mouth under the faucet in your sink, and that's Nestle right there. Because guess what?
Oh, Nestle has waters too. Damn, Nestle has everything damn near, bro. No funny shit.
In 2012, Nestle was actually sued for selling tap water and marketing it as spring water. But Nestle, they didn't stop there. Evil chocolate.
Nestle also sells chocolate too. Considering these companies that make chocolates, they go to third world countries to have the ingredients of these chocolates exported to them. And with this ingredient being cocoa. Let's look at Ivory Coast for example. I'm going to say some oil facts for you. 60% of the Ivory Coast export revenue comes just only from cocoa. And most of these cocoa farmers, most of them earn less than $2 a day. I wouldn't mind making a single video just on chocolates, because it's a lot of dark stuff. Nestle has debunked the chocolate claims multiple times.
Et j'ai jamais trouvé un enfant de 10 ans, de 15 ans, de 16 ans, mais de 13 ans travaille dans une plantation. Il n'y a pas d'enfant dans la plantation.
Our undercover researchers have reached a cocoa plantation in the north of the Ivory Coast. They see several children. Some carry machetes for harvesting the cocoa pods.
Je peux rassurer. Le monde entier.
Le monde, they're coming for vacation. They've seen a bus with 20 kids.
I don't know about you, but I don't think those kids were on vacation. But that's just me though, because just in
Those kids was definitely not on vacation, bro. They was doing. It looked like they was doing work. It was working, doing shit.
A group of those kids got funding and they decided to sue Nestle. 8 former kids that worked on these cocoa plantations, they were suing Nestle. Just to think that these kids worked their way up just to sue this huge company is crazy to me. But I thought if Nestle couldn't take the lives of humans serious, maybe they may consider taking the lives of animals serious. I mean, they do make dog food, right? The silent killer. Let's say you wake up one day, you find out that your dog is extremely sick. You take your dog to the vet. They diagnose your dog and they tell you your dog has signs of liver failure and some internal bleeding. With panic, you look online to see what caused this, only to find out that the food you've been feeding your dog is what caused this. Meet Frank Lucido. You find out that the pet food he fed his dog from Nestle had fungal mold, lead, arsenic, and industrial glycols. The last one was the chemical found in antifreeze. Antifreeze in the terms of something that you use for your car. I don't think cars and pets mix, but hey, Nestle, once again. In simple English, Frank Lucido was feeding his dog poison. And when he looked more into what caused this dog to be acting this way, he found out that not only him, but 4,000 other people had the same problem. I think Nestle at this point should change their motto to, if there's money involved, there's no limits. I'm in the middle of working on my hat brand. I love hats so much. They're just perfect for every occasion. And for Nestle, at what cost?
That's the vid. Yes, bro. So yeah, let me know what's your favorite Nestle drink / food, bro. Let me know, bro. Alright, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Y'all know the vibes. Over checking out you are.